As you watch this segment, think about the ways the body fights disease naturally and how vaccines help to prevent infection. Holly Jones is having symptoms of the flu. The flu virus entered her body through the nasal passages. It will begin to multiply as soon as it enters the cell, making additional viruses that will travel throughout her body. Our bodies can fight off the flu, and with the help of medication, some of the symptoms can be relieved. But it was not too long ago that having the flu was almost always a death sentence. From 1918 to 1919, the Spanish flu killed more than 25 million people around the world. Fortunately, health conditions are much better now, and we have new ways to combat the flu. Although there have been several advances in medicine since the beginning of the 20th century, the primary battlefield against the flu is still inside our bodies. After cells have been infected with a virus, they release chemicals that trigger the body's inflammatory response. During an inflammatory response, fluid and white blood cells called phagocytes move from blood vessels into infected tissues. Phagocytes are blood cells that absorb viruses and bacteria. Phagocytes destroy pathogens by engulfing them and breaking them down. Phagocytes do a great job of destroying pathogens, but they are not the only weapons that fight disease. Other kinds of specialized white blood cells, lymphocytes, also help protect the body from infections. One kind of lymphocyte, called a T cell, identifies pathogens that enter the body. It recognizes a molecule on the pathogen that is called an antigen. Another kind of lymphocyte is called a B cell. B cells produce chemicals called antibodies. Antibodies work like keys, locking onto a specific antigen. Once antibodies have become attached to the antigens, the antibodies help destroy the pathogens. Antibodies fight pathogens by changing the chemical composition of the pathogen and by preventing the pathogen from moving through the body. The flu virus attacks the respiratory system. Typical symptoms include sneezing, coughing, sudden fever, body aches, and a feeling of general weakness. It causes up to 20,000 deaths in the United States each year.
Flu predictably changes every year. It evolves more rapidly than any other virus. It changes its coat so the body's immune system cells don't recognize it as being the virus they encountered the year before. In fact, it is a new virus.
Every year, flu trackers at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization try to predict which strains of influenza will be the most widespread during the next flu season. When their forecast is complete, scientists can begin developing a powerful tool to help the body's immune system react quickly enough to destroy the virus before it makes you sick. This tool is called a vaccine. A vaccine usually consists of pathogens that have been fragmented or destroyed by scientists. But these inactive viruses still contain the unique proteins that can trigger an immune response. Flu vaccine is made from highly purified egg-grown flu viruses. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, provides vaccine manufacturers with the targeted strains of viruses. These viruses can no longer make anyone sick, but they can trigger the body's immune response. To make the vaccine, the manufacturers inject the fragmented viruses into fertilized chicken eggs. The eggs are incubated to allow the viruses to multiply and grow. Months later, scientists harvest the viruses. Then the FDA tests the new viruses to make sure that as part of the new vaccines, they will help boost the body's immune system, enabling it to fight flu viruses. As flu season gets closer, several strains of the virus are combined into one vaccine that is then packed into vials and syringes. In August, the FDA licenses the vaccine. In October, the vaccinations begin. Though creating vaccines is a time-consuming process, it helps limit the uncontrolled spread of diseases that could cost millions of lives. Scientists and researchers are learning more and more about how our bodies fight disease. They are using this knowledge to create vaccines that combat infections and reduce our chances of catching such diseases as the flu. How do vaccines fight flu viruses?